assholes.
No, it's like, it's great.
Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout. Welcome back to part 2 of today's episode of The Power Move, episode 14, where we are talking about real estate investment. I, of course, am John Gafford. To my left is Colt Amadon, and with us also Chris Connell, Esquire, to keep us out of trouble or hopefully from getting canceled. Yeah, we might get canceled. We might not. I don't know. It never goes. But, before the break, we were talking about, I just made a pretty lengthy, stroked a pretty big check to my book, on my book deal. Wrote a check out to get a book written. Look, I'm a smart dude. I'm quippy. I tell a lot of good stories, but writing is not a forte for me. So rather than me try to personally write a book that was going to be garbage, I went out and basically solicited the best people in the business to do this for me, to help me with this book. And I'm excited about it. It's going to be good.
Do I get a chapter in this book? Me and Chris being
there's going to be a whole case study on you. I think, Colt, there'll be a whole case study. But you asked me, Chris, before the break.
Hold on, John. Before we get into that, maybe some things we can leave out.
Some things we could leave out. Some things we could leave out.
Yeah.
But no, so you want to talk a little bit more about that. Also, later in today's episode, I want to talk about Airbnb arbitrage, which is something I just learned a lot about. It's a concept that I do really like. We'll talk about that. But again, back to talking about the book deal. So, even during the break, you asked me, you said, man, that's I love that. That's a good deal. And what do you do? And how do you come to that kind of decision?
I don't know if it's a good deal. I haven't priced it out, but I think that's the right thing to do, is invest in yourself always.
Yeah. No. This is the Rolls Royce of what this is. There's no more expensive place to do this or have this done. But they're the best people in the business to end-to-end help me accomplish what I want. So, how do you get there? How do you make a big decision like that? And how do you do this? Well, there's a saying, in for a penny, in for a pound. Mm-hmm. Is kind of what you would go with this. So when I kind of started doing this, and the whole purpose and I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you the whole reason. If you're enjoying this podcast, if you think it's great, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're following on Instagram, I'll tell you the whole purpose for this. So as we started doing the national expansion and doing joint venture partnerships with brokers, large real estate brokers across the country with mortgage and title, we have a great CEO that came to our company. He was head of franchising at Realogy. He was the CEO at another franchise real estate company called JPAR out of Texas, very well known in the industry. But we were still bumping into this, who the hell are these guys? Because in Vegas, we are a very big fish, but it's outside of Vegas. Who the hell are these guys? So I made a commitment that I needed to develop a national brand, and it would be things that people would know. I need to get on more stages. I need to be more omnipresent among all channels and everything we're going to do. So I start looking for the best guys in the business to coach me on this and help me do this. And a company came up, and that company is called Monopolize. It's actually owned by Brett Knudsen. He lives here it's oddly enough, the guy we could hit a driver. Well, Colt maybe 3 drivers and hit his house from where we're sitting. He lives across the street, McDonald Highlands. Lives across the street. And he owns a company called Monopolize. They handle marketing and brand imaging for a lot of companies. It is hyper expensive. And by that, I mean a monthly retainer with these guys is take what you I think the Golden Knights are one of his clients. So take what you think they would spend on social media branding, what a company like that is, and then understand there's no real drop off for an individual. It's just what it costs. Yeah. So it was a massive investment in that. And you go down that road, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing it. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, if I'm doing it, I gotta really do it. So you hire content editors that are cutting this thing up. If you're seeing this, if you're seeing this on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, I'm not editing this up. I've got
this is on TikTok?
Everything. I got virtual assistants. That's it. Yeah.
Burger King.
As the kids do. Yeah. Great. Now, see, we just picked up like 1,000 10-year-old followers. Nice job, Chris. Nice job. No, but I got VCs that are cutting this stuff up. They cost money. And then it's like, you go into this and you're like, okay, if you're doing it, you can't do half of it. You can't do part of it. So by the time this whole experiment is done, and again, it was a tough investment for me because I only normally invest in things that I can quantitatively look at a return. I can say, here's the data sets, here's everything. This is the expectation based on previous. I can do this. In our business here. I know my cogs. I know everything that we do here. I know how to turn those dials to make more money, to cut costs, to do things. I know, with agents here, I know how many, if they just make this number of calls a month,
right,
I know that that's going to turn into this amount of money. All of that is a data set. So to take that leap of faith off of the cliff, if you will, and spend the kind of money that I'm spending on this whole adventure, it's a lot.
Can we bring this back to like 90s references and see how
see
how hip hop suburban dads we really are?
Okay, I love it. Let's see it.
There ain't no such things as
you lost me already.
halfway crooks.
Did you have that one, Colt?
Of course.
He didn't have that one. I don't think
I did. No, I didn't. Where was that?
That's what we're talking about.
Obviously, I don't know if you listened to was it Mobb Deep or whatever.
No.
It was an 8 Mile, Colt. It was an 8 Mile. Remember the whole crowd?
Yeah.
The spaghetti.
Yes.
The spaghetti.
Halfway crooks.
You should like that movie. Tom Hanks was not in it. You can like that
That's
movie.
actually a good movie.
Here's one for Colt, because he's from Utah. There's no such thing as half pregnant.
Oh.
I don't go there.
Oh, boy.
Soaking that one in, Chris.
Soaking
that one in.
Soaking that
You don't
one
even want to know that. If you don't get that reference,
I do.
Yeah.
You don't want to get it.
Hard to get pregnant soaking in.
Okay, look, the thoughts and feelings of Colt Hamadan do not reflect that.
I didn't say nothing. I said nope. Not going there. I have a Utah team.
Moving on. Back to
we're going for a soak as a completely different meaning.
Okay.
Sorry, John, but the point is that in for a penny, in for a pound,
and for a penny, and for a pound.
Which Colt isn't about the cheapest.
I thought that was about my neighbor, but okay.
No, so that's it. So again, back to investing, because we were talking about this before. We talked about the high-rise market, how it is. We talked about single family. I think that fourplexes and apartments is a whole nother show. I mean, that's literally its whole podcast to talk about that stuff, because you can talk about that. I mean, there are very unique tax advantages of buying apartment buildings. I mean, the number one being accelerated depreciation. If you're a high net worth earner and you're not investing in apartment buildings just simply to get to the accelerated depreciation tax laws, you're nuts.
Or in a qualified opportunity zone, depending on
those things.
What kind of your timing issue is.
Let's save that for a whole nother show. But back to single family homes.
I kind of want to hear more about this book, John, that process. Or is this the
no? I mean, no, we're not very far in it so far. I mean, the book. I mean, so far we did about an hour interview where they kind of found out, does this guy have anything of substance we can actually translate into a book? I mean, actually, Colt, they do coloring books. Apparently, it's much cheaper, so you may want to look into that.
I was going to say,
see, Colt Power Walk.
Oh, my book deal is going to be way bigger when you guys have a 2-time Olympian in multiple sports. My book deal is going to be huge.
Okay, it's going to be huge.
But you know what? I feel like you just need a dragon on your cover, John, and you'll Trogdor.
Just anything with a dragon, and you're going to be good.
Going to be good.
No, so we did the interview for about 2 hours to make sure that I had some knowledge in my field and knew what I was doing. And
so they interviewed you.
They interviewed me, and we could tie it together in kind of an interesting way. And after that, they were like, "Cool, we'd love to work with you. We want to do this." And then then they slowly slide. Actually, that's not true. Yeah. I knew the price going into the interview. They were very transparent. They're like, "Look, this is what it is. Course, yeah. This is what if you want the full enchilada, here's the number." I mean, that's what it is. It just they're not hurting for business. What
questions are they asking you during those? Or is it just tell me your story?
No. There was like 4, do you know Colt Hamadan, which I thought was weird.
If you know him, you got to have a story.
There was a lot of that.
3 or 4 chapters.
It was just give us your background, give us challenges, give us what you teach people, give us where you think give us the direction of the book.
Is this a business book or is this a personal memoir?
No, it's not. It's not a personal memoir. What it is I believe that success leaves clues. I believe that failure leaves more. I've had my share of both, and I want to kind of go through that. But I think the overall theme of the book is going to be intention. And what I mean by that is there's too many people floating through the ether of life, not doing things intentionally. Mm-hmm. Like even my mastermind this weekend, like even that, man, I'm not going to call anybody out, but there was a couple people that you get in the table groups, you get in the table breakouts, and they're like, what did you come here for this weekend? And people are like, I don't know. I just, I wanted to come. It's like, dude, how did you come to this? How did you come to this with this level of intelligence hanging around and not have like a thought out agenda? Obviously when you go to those things, my first thing is I want to bring value. I want to try to help as many people as I can. That's the first thing I want to do is I want to bring value to others.
Sure.
But I've got a mental checklist of, I need to spend time with this person. I want to try to learn this from them. I want to get some advice from this person on this. I have specific conversations that are set up in my mind before I even go.
What about the philosophy that you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it? So maybe some people are I'm just wondering, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but do you think sometimes people go there without an agenda or intention?
I don't think not in that level of a mastermind.
Let's see what comes up when I know these really smart people.
I don't think you really, there's a million masterminds nowadays out there, and I want people to realize your mastermind is on a whole different level than the quote on, hey, I got an attorney, I've got a real estate guy, I got an insurance guy.
Yeah, it's not a
meet
meetup
every Wednesday, right? Like this is these guys are flying on private jets. These guys are doing big, crazy deals. I mean, we do a lot of investment deals and stuff, and you'll come in all excited, like, listen to what these guys are doing, and it's a whole different level.
It's another level. But to your point, there are things that when I go there, I don't know what I don't know, and something will come up, and then I will seek somebody out to learn more about it. Or if somebody says something, I really try to connect the dots as much as I can at these things. Like if somebody says, "Oh, I need help with cold traffic," I'm like, I know exactly who you need to talk to, and then I'll go grab that person and connect them and say, like, you need to talk to them. And there's times when somebody will come grab me and say, you need to talk to this guy, and we have a conversation, and it's really good in that group that way. But I think you have no like. I literally am like, I've researched every single person in that group.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense if you know kind of your breakouts or
No. I'm talking about. I try to figure out as much as I can the individual skill sets of every single person that are in this group before I go, because if I do that, now I can network with intention.
Yeah.
Now I can intentionally do what I do. I think so many people wake up and don't do anything with intention, and I'm not saying ulterior motive that's evil.
No.
But I'm saying just live an intentional life.
That is a really good point. It's like people that give the charity say, well, you're only doing that. It's like, I don't care why you're doing that.
Yeah.
Just do it. Who gives a shit why you did it? The intention behind something, people always think that's just because you have an intention, it's nefarious.
Right. Yeah.
You should have an intention to get better, to grow,
in everything.
Experience life. You're on this rock, you're flying in space. What do you want to do here? Right. Yeah. And go do those things that support that. So the intention thing, I completely get that. And I probably don't do it enough because I worry about some of the day-to-day challenges of being an attorney, being a father, right? You're kind of walking through it a lot of times, trying to survive sometimes.
What's worse is you get on autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot.
And I think that's where we got, like, okay, for example, case in point, my son is obviously the lacrosse thing. My son's been playing lacrosse. He's trying to get better, trying to improve as much as he can. And every day he's out there on the repeater. And last night I kind of looked out there and he was on the repeater and he was just throwing the ball. And I could just tell, I don't know, he wasn't even thinking about it. And I walked down, I was like, are you doing this to do it because you know you need to practice 30 minutes a day, or are you doing it with intention that every single time you throw that ball against that net, you're trying to get better?
Yeah.
You're focused on one singular place on that net that you're trying to make that ball land exactly in that 1 square inch, and you're trying to catch it back exactly the same way every time.
That's the difference between Michael Jordan and someone like Ben Simmons.
Intention.
So Ben Simmons has got all the talent in the world, but you can see that he doesn't carry with him the desire to be excellent. That's why he's a shitty free throw shooter.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell why Ben Simmons is a bad free throw shooter.
Yeah.
Right. Or whatever. Michael Jordan, though, always went out with intention. LeBron James lived with intention. Right. So that's the difference between superstars and stars. Here's my question. I was thinking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. I was listening to some podcast, some football thing, and somebody brought up the point about in life, you will get 50% of the way by showing up. The whole concept of the greatest ability is availability.
Okay.
So people that show up on time to their job, not early, not late. You don't have to come and be a superstar. If you're there,
just show up.
You are literally halfway to success.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about the difference. You're talking about the nuance. It's when you sharpen the pencil.
That's it.
But you got a writable pencil if you just fucking show up 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's
like and I love that because
but showing up with intention.
Showing up with intention is a way to become a superstar.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can be pretty goddamn successful.
You can be
in life.
Tom Hanks and get successful just because you show up to fucking.
What I mean? It's almost like there's this double-edged thing about life where you go, okay, I today am gonna go into autopilot.
Yeah.
Right. Like this whole thing.
It's so easy to slip into that. It's so easy to slip into those times of just coasting through everything.
My point is, I think it's okay to do that as long as you know how to get back out of it. I think that it's okay. Like I don't need to live with intention every day. Some days I go, today I'm going to intentionally go out of my way to not do. You know what I mean? Like,
are you saying like stress? Maybe stress-wise, so like
But
less stressful day is going to be one that's just on autopilot.
Well, let me give you a great.
That's what
I'm
going
to go play golf this afternoon.
Let me give you a great example. It's one of the guys that was speaking this week, and I don't remember who this was. I don't remember who said this, and they weren't even talking about intention. It wasn't even what they were talking about. But somebody asked a question, or somebody said something about, because this person traveled a lot and was on the road with business a lot and did a lot of things. And they said, do you regret missing time with your kids? Was the question what it was. Do you regret, or you feel like you're missing out on your kids because you only got till they're 18 and then they're gone? And the answer was this. The answer was, when I'm with my kids, I am so hyper-focused on them. And I am with them with a great level of intention that I have a better connection, I have better memories, and I have a better relationship with my kids than somebody that sits on the couch all day and stares at their phone and or the TV.
I actually couldn't agree with that statement more. And here's what I learned as a parent that had my first daughter 50-50, is that when I had her.
Yeah.
And I planned around. And that's kind of almost my question is, when you're talking about living with intention. So with my first daughter, I lived with intention when I had her. And then when I didn't sit there and, I had a mental kind of bridge where I went and crossed it when I needed to.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people think to be successful, and I only bring this up because the young people that I want to grind in real estate, I want to hustle, I want to do all this stuff. I think you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
I think you're going to burn your ability to.
No, but again, let me talk to that point.
Yep.
I would say you need downtime by intention.
Okay, so that's
you need intent.
Yeah,
I'm not saying.
No.
I'm not saying I'm going to take the best shower I have ever taken in my entire life. That's not what I'm saying.
Is a best shower to you cold or hot?
Depends on what I'm doing. Depends. No. I got to tell you, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm out of the dry sauna, cold better. I like the cold better.
It starts shrinkage. It's cold. I don't like cold showers.
Why would you like cold showers? I hate getting in a cold pool.
He's never seen Star Wars. Can we just leave it at that?
Is that? I feel like that's a positive.
Don't say it.
No, I think it's a positive.
It's like a perfect time for a Han Solo joke.
Oh God, no! Here's the question. The question becomes:
is that what you do when you don't have your daughter 50-50? The other 50's Han Solo.
All right. How the hell am I going to make the bumper for the episode 13 and try to squeeze that mayhem that happened into like 15 seconds?
Just have it on repeat about Darth Vader.
Just nothing but Darth Vader. Just go with that.
But
I need a book deal.
So to your point, but that comes down to almost like definitional truth, right, for yourself. And to me, what I'm saying is, I'm living my life with an intention, and it's like a Maslow hierarchy. It's my top-down thing. And John, you know what my intentions are. We're going to go satisfy someone.
Yeah.
I want to go do epic shit with my life.
Yeah.
I want to be able to look back at it and not think I've left a lot of rubber on the tires.
Right. Yep.
Now, with that comes being a good husband, being a good father. It's all that.
I watched the Sakara. I watched that documentary, by the way.
Did you?
It's pretty
spectacular.
It's pretty impressive.
So you're about to go embark on history
I know.
That's going to be in the book.
I know. Yeah, it is.
And so
living with intention.
Accomplishing things and going to see things in Dubai for 24 hours.
Okay. Oh boy. You're gonna get me killed.
That was my only point.
You're gonna get me killed.
I think that some people, they don't understand what it means to have balance, and that balance is a part of intention.
Yeah.
So to your point, I would agree. As long as people don't mistake the word intention.
Well, yeah,
I think mean what you kind of mean it is.
But no. But in all things, it's the drift that gets you.
The drift, yeah.
The drift is what gets you. Every great thing that I've ever accomplished in life, or every great thing that's happened to me, has happened to me because I went after it with a high level of intention.
Right.
Even my wife, man. I got to tell you, people that are dating today, you know what I guess you can kind of use the text thing. But back in the day, I was living in Florida when I met my wife, and I'm telling you, the AOL Instant Messenger, which is how I used to talk to my wife on the old computer with our whatever it was. But the AOL Instant Messenger, that thing was the greatest ever, because you had a little delay. So like you could think about like, okay, it was like playing chess.
You could be smooth.
You could be smooth and funny and interesting. And to this day, I don't know if I would have got my wife without having that delay where I could just, not type something like, I'd never seen a Star Wars movie. I mean,
could you imagine life with internet, how it was.
Having
the dial-up.
Having to go meet human beings in real life.
The dial-up. Do you want to hear a crazy story? Not a crazy story, but...
Colt, the answer to that from you is always yes.
Always yes. So I was a junior in high school, and I was in Spanish class, and my teacher hated me with a passion for no reason.
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué, Colt?
No sé, pero...
Señor Colt.
She hated me. And so we're in like the end of second term, and... I totally forgot we had like a 4-page paper we had to do in Spanish. So I get online. This is before like translation sites or stuff. So the translate sites were pretty horrible, but my Spanish was horrible. So it looked like I did. Well, the problem is I got 2 paragraphs into it. Someone called in, got back in. The default was French. So I turned my Spanish paper in. She's like, is this French? And some idiot in the class, he's an idiot. He speaks 6 languages. It's like, oh, you speak French? Start speaking to me in French. And yeah, didn't, but I got an A from there on out. That teacher loved me. I see.
Okay, so the mark on that is 21 minutes and 15 seconds for the editor later. Just
edit. I'm just saying.
So if you're still listening,
do you know what's and you know what Colt's first 2 sentences were in his Spanish? He says, Han Solo es bueno, Darth Vader es Diablo.
Darth Vader.
Still don't understand that.
Back to investments. I guess we'll talk about that. We'll try to. One of the things that I learned about this weekend, I heard a lot about it. I've known a little bit about it, but I thought it was an interesting concept. I want to talk about it, which is Airbnb arbitrage. Now, what is Airbnb arbitrage? It's where essentially you rent someone's property, you take control of it, you furnish it, and then you use it as an Airbnb, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I say that, what is your first thought? What is your first thought when I say that?
People don't understand necessarily what arbitrage means. Arbitrage is a risk-free process. So arbitrage means I've already sold it before I bought it.
Yeah. Well, it means there's a spread. You're scraping the spread.
But it's a guaranteed spread.
It's a guaranteed spread.
It means I got the buyer and the seller already. So when I sign one contract, the other time, I have a risk-free spread in the middle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as risk-free as...
Are you saying, but on yours, are you saying that these guys are maybe leasing out properties and then personally turning those into Airbnb?
They're renting someone's house and then turning it into an Airbnb.
I give you $1,000 for your house, and I have 2 weekends already rented for $1,500.
Yeah. So what? No. Like I'm going to give you a 12-month lease.
Yeah.
Is how this works. Oh, my phone's gone. Partner's gone. Sorry, we'll call him back. No, it's literally a deal where it's like it's a 12-month lease. They lease it from the landlord, and then they turn it into an Airbnb. Yeah. And my first thought was, why in the hell would someone let you do that? Right? That was my first thought is, why would someone let you do this to their property? Here's what they do. And it's pretty slick. They approach the landlord and they say, hi, I represent corporate housing. We bring professionals in to train, to relocate temporarily, and we need some corporate housing to temporarily house our professionals. If you're interested in leasing your house to us to use for temporary corporate housing, let us know.
Oh, wow.
That's the pitch.
Smart.
So the landlords think you're bringing in Nancy, the accountant, to sit here for a couple of weeks, and that's how it is. Now, I know what you're thinking now. You're thinking, oh, man, if there's a party, the landlord's going to be pissed, right? And these guys have all those verbiage they put in the lease saying that you're allowed to do this. Now, they check the county ordinances to make sure it's not illegal. Right. If you need a permit, they get a permit. That's fine. All of those things that they do. There's a website that they utilize. Let me pull up the website, what it was. There's a website. It is called...
Because a lot of these landlords, they don't even care because they bought this as an investment that they just need.
Yeah, they just and it sounds like a good idea to have a bunch of professionals that roll through your deal. So here was the letter they did. I'm going to read you the letter. This is the contact letter they actually send out to the client. It says, or to the owner. It says, hey, blank, this is blank, and I run a corporate housing business where we host working professionals in the area. We host professionals who are training and or providing their services locally. They prefer to stay in the comfort of home that reminds them of their home rather than a hotel, especially with social distancing. I have references available upon request and would like to see if you would be interested in renting me your property for 12-month lease. Here's how it works. I would rent your property for 12 months. I will pay the amount of your listing every month, days early. The property will be deep cleaned by my professional staff and will remain in the same condition as when I took it over. Let me know if you have any questions.
Crazy. They're both named Blank.
I know. They're both named Blank. So they get the lease done, right? And they put in the lease that they're allowed to lease it short term. What they're looking for is a 50% win on an 80% occupancy. So if the rent costs $1,000, and there's a website, that's when I went to look up and see what it was. There's a website where you can actually look up and see where this is. And the website is called, nope. The website is called, where is the website? I think it's called Mashup. I think what it is.
That does not sound right.
No, that doesn't sound right.
That sounds like when you put your face on a celebrity and it turns it into.
I agree.
Sounds like
which isn't that fun.
Jab.
That is fun.
Which isn't that fun.
Sounds like a jib jab of Colt with Tom Hanks.
I know. I can't. I'm sure.
Alpha.
You know
what is your favorite Tom? Why he's doing this? What's your favorite Tom Hanks?
Private Ryan, dude.
But that's why you keep defaulting to one
Forrest
good movie.
Gump.
Now, Forrest Gump was horrible.
Forrest
Horrible.
Gump was a story about a man who had all of the odds against him in life and did not let that stop his ability to live the life.
Go ahead.
Back from Private Ryan. So they just use the Google machine. You can find a website.
You can.
Well, you can find a website where it shows you
in there.
Yes, he was. It was Leonardo DiCaprio and him. He was trying to catch him. See, now you got me all scrambled. So, but there's a website you can look and find out what the average rates and vacancies are for Airbnb in a given area. Right. Just use the Google machine. I'm not sure what the site was. I'm sure you'll find it. They're looking for if the place rents for $1,000 a month, they want a net $500, and on an 80% occupancy. They want to try. They don't want to try to go. They want to go for like 20. No, it's less than that. It was 66% because they say 20 days rented is what they want to do, and they're looking for a 500% win based on what they have. Then you hire a cleaning person. When you hire the cleaning person, you basically say you have to clean 7 days a week. You have to be available 7 days a week whenever I need you. Holidays, Christmas, whatever. You got to do that, and you've got to be available if they need something, a blanket or whatever, and need to restock. They need to be able to restock like the shampoo and stuff and get all the stuff done. They essentially become your property manager,
right?
And you're paying them a cleaning. Now the cleaning is free because it's a pass-through charge to Airbnb to whoever it is, and then they just turn them loose, man. They just furnish these things and turn them loose, and this cat that was laying this out, I don't remember his name. He wasn't part of our group. They just brought him in to talk about it. But they had like 500 of these across the country.
I met a kid that did. It might have been bananas. The same kid because that kid had at the time. It was like years ago, and he had like 80 or something.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, dude, if you're one of those people out there that says, I don't have the money to invest in real estate, I don't have the money to get started. I mean, you go to IKEA and buy some furniture for not very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are facing probably a lot of legal consequences of that, though. That is where I would pump the brakes.
Well, keep in mind, here comes counsel. Okay, but keep in mind a couple of things about this. Number one, as long as you disclose it, and he says you make sure within the lease, you get permission from the landlord to rent it short term. You also get permission to change the locks. It's in the lease that you sign. It's an additional term. I have permission to change the locks because we had to put a digital lock on it to give our people access. It's fine. And then also what they do is, here's the key, because what's the biggest fear? I forgot to talk about this. The biggest fear you're going to have is they do what?
Damage it.
Throw a party and damage it, right? He said the number one way to know if you're going to have a problem, don't rent to anybody within the city that you're in. Yep. If you have one of these in LA and somebody from LA wants to rent it, there's a good chance they're going to have a party or cause a problem in it.
Yeah. Some guy from Nashville, they'll rent it out.
Some guy from Nashville, they'll rent it out. He's like, you don't have to rent it to everybody. You can just
say no.
What they're
doing is pretty much saying, hey, look over here, it's corporate housing. And then
corporate
in
housing,
the corporate,
Airbnb.
Yeah, and then
housing.
But what they're probably doing is putting in their leases this kind of stuff, and he's probably glancing over like, oh yeah, they're corporate housing, and just kind of
it is what it is. But you can also remember that again,
have your counsel look over that draft, by the way, before you send solicitation text like that. Make sure that I think it should be worded in such a way as you just say corporate short-term leasing, as opposed to like anything that hints that like this is a controlled, who they are. Damage issues. I would just be very cautious and conscientious of the exact wording so that it's not misleading. Because if it's misleading, that could be fraud. And if there's treble damages and has all these things.
Again, no. Again, this is information I heard from a stage. You look into it yourself.
Look into yourself.
Don't quote me for anything. Don't come back and say I told you to do this.
There are probably ways to do this. That is not one that we are recommending or endorsing. But at the end of the day, John's point remains that
there's a dude that
it's just smart. It just shows you can do what you need to without the capital.
But again, you can install decibel meters around the house. There's things you can do to control this to make sure there's no problems. There's lots of things you can do. And again, the good thing about Airbnb is you can see the reviews of people before.
Yeah.
If there's any damage to the property, you have their credit card.
Yep.
You got within, I think, as long as you make the claim within before somebody else checks in, they're gonna pay for it. It's part of the Airbnb thing. You can make a claim through Airbnb and they will hit their card. Yeah. So the risk is pretty low.
Yeah, there's a way to do it. Right. Absolutely. Just how you phrase that and how you solicit was my only concern.
That's a little different. So, if we learned anything in today's show, I think
we learned
that. What did we learn? Sum us up.
Tom Hanks was in.
He's the federal agent that busts him.
Yes.
That's why I didn't like that show then, because I feel like that movie was great. It was real life.
Just to let you know, a lot of that stuff in that movie was bullshit. Didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, that's every movie made into a movie.
But very specifically about Catch Me If You Can is that Frank Abagnale, the con artist, was on that game show. And a lot of what they took was at his word of what he said on the game show. It was not fact-checked. It was not background checked at all. This whole wildlife he was running and cashing checks and flying Pan Am is whatever.
Yeah,
a lot of that was apparently bullshit.
Shocker.
It's funny that a movie about a con artist conned people into making a movie about a con artist.
Oh yeah, no, completely. Doesn't surprise me.
The inception level of connery in that one is amazing.
It's shocking. It's shocking. Well, time to wrap it up, boys. Again, guys, if you like what we do, you can always check us out over on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can check this out. We were streaming it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Check out some of the other episodes. I mean, especially, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to check out episode 13. It was bananas. We'll just leave it at that. And if you like what we do, make sure you tell somebody. And if you hate it, tell two, because it doesn't matter if they're talking about you.
If you think Tom Hanks sucks.
Oh, my God. It's when they stop talking, you got a problem. We'll see you next time.
Sorry. What's this number?
Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com. where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at @thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.